Hey there, and welcome back. Today, we're going to focus on one of the most important, but maybe one of the most overlooked parts of the human body. It's something you see every single day, right there in the mirror, but I bet you barely give it a second thought.
So let me ask you this. What is your eye's built-in bodyguard? You know, that tough, resilient structure that's on duty 24/7, keeping one of your most precious organs totally safe? Any ideas?
If you guessed the white part of your eye, you nailed it. It's called the sclera. And yeah, it's that tough white outer layer of the eyeball. Think of it like a protective coat, or maybe even body armor, that also happens to be what holds the eye in that perfect spherical shape.
So let's really dig into this idea of it being a protective shell, because it's basically the foundation for the whole setup.
The sheer scale of the sclera is pretty incredible when you think about it. It isn't just a little ring around your iris. No way. It covers the posterior 5/6 of the entire eyeball. It wraps almost completely around, connecting to the clear cornea at the front. That's your window to the world. And it creates this protective sheath around the optic nerve at the back. It's a nearly complete, perfect casing.
So yeah, it's a shell, but it's a really functional one. It's both a shield and a kind of structural frame, and it's actively involved in pretty much everything your eye does.
Let's break down its three main jobs. First, and most obviously, it protects all the super delicate, complex machinery inside your eye. Second, it maintains the eyeball's round shape, which is absolutely critical for light to focus correctly on your retina. And third, it's the anchor point for all the muscles that let your eyes move. Seriously, without the sclera, you couldn't look up, down, or all around.
But here's a really cool detail. The sclera isn't the same thickness all the way around. It's this amazing piece of biological engineering. It's thickest at the very back of the eye, giving maximum protection right where the optic nerve exits, and it's thinnest just behind where the muscles attach. A perfectly optimized design for strength and flexibility.
Okay, so we know what it does. Now how about we take a little journey through its layers, almost like an anatomical tour from the outside in. Our trip has three main stops. First, the episclera on the outside, then the sclera proper right in the middle, and finally, the lamina fusca deep on the inside.
First stop, the episclera. This is the outermost, pretty loose layer of connective tissue. The key thing to know here is that it's vascular, which just means it has blood vessels. And when this specific layer gets inflamed, that's what doctors call episcleritis.
All right, next up is the sclera proper. This is the main event. This is the real heavy lifter of the group. It's made of this incredibly dense web of collagen fibers, and that's exactly what gives the sclera its amazing strength and that classic opaque white color that we all recognize.
Our final stop on the tour is the lamina fusca. This is the innermost layer, and it's a little different because it actually has pigmented cells. This dark color helps absorb any stray light, kind of like the black interior of a camera, and it puts it right up against the next layer in, the choroid, forming a nice, clean transition deep inside the eyeball.
The sclera also has some really important special features. You've got the limbus, that's the border with the cornea, and the scleral spur, which is an internal anchor point. But the most crucial one is probably the lamina cribrosa. It's this amazing sieve-like mesh structure at the very back that lets all the delicate optic nerve fibers pass through safely on their way to the brain. It's literally the gateway for your vision.
So, you might be wondering, how does this tough, dense tissue actually stay alive? Well, let's take a look at the sclera's lifelines, its blood and nerve supply.
Okay, so on the left, we've got its blood supply. The main part, the sclera proper, is what we call avascular, which means it has very few blood vessels of its own. It gets most of its nutrients from vessels in the layers right around it, like that episclera we just talked about. Then on the right, you see its nerve supply. Any sensory info, like pain, gets carried by the ciliary nerves, and these are just branches of the big trigeminal nerve, the very same one that handles sensation for a lot of your face.
Now, all this anatomy is super fascinating, but why does it really matter to you? Well, it matters a whole lot, because when this protective shield weakens, it can be a major red flag for some serious health problems.
The sclera can be this powerful diagnostic window into our overall health. A painful inflammation called scleritis, for example, can be really serious. A bluish tint to the white of the eye can actually be a sign of a connective tissue disorder like osteogenesis imperfecta. And if the sclera thins out too much, it can cause a dangerous bulge called a staphyloma. The health of this white shell really does tell a story.
So, the big takeaway here is that the tough, white part of our eye is so much more than just a boring background. It is a protector, it's a structural support, and it's a window into our health. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? What other crucial parts of our own bodies are we overlooking, right there in plain sight?